Good YouTube and everybody, thanks for stopping by and checking out the channel. We really do appreciate it. Marvel Legends series Hasbro Punisher One Last Kill action figure available now for order, and all the links are down in the basement if you want to purchase. Let me know if you're going to purchase it or not. Right now, let's go ahead and roll them off the stand and let's get started. Okay, so let's take a look at the appearance. As you can see him there, he looks pretty good to me. Versus the first one before him, never liked it. Look at his face. I don't like that sad face. Not liking the jumpsuit. He has a kind of a weird walk. His stance is funny. Don't like the attire, just how they did on him. But I do like this with the better finish of the pants. And you can see the logo coming down there. I do like that. But nothing wrong with the logo on him as well. But his facial features is so much better than the one before him right there. You see it? I mean, it just doesn't look as good. Utility belt. All that's great. The muscle's great. Even the flesh color is slightly different and it looks better. And the beard, all that matches in the movie. You have his hair there. I'm not quite sure where that brown's coming from. Quote me if I'm wrong. Is that in the movie? His hair's black and then brown like that? Not quite sure. But I know he has that tight short sleeve, right? And you do have all his weapon holders here, right? Utility belt for everything else that you need. And it does look good. The pants are like they are, just regular. Have a little ruffling in them for bagginess, but then you see his boots there. They look really good versus these boots. Just not a fan of those shoes, not boots. But then you look here for his boots. They look really decent, not bad, right? So the figure itself, when I'm looking at it, I'm getting the series. I can see him in the series. The big nose, the scratch on the nose, look at the beard, the shape of his head. All that's good. Arms, that looks great. His height. And then you can see Daredevil in the background. I'm pretty sure he looks good too. That's not a bad figure there, right? Daredevil's always awesome. But you see that there on the appearance, not too bad. If we want to look at them real close, real quick, to see what they did on the finish, paint scheme, whatnot, let's go ahead and do that. I just wanted to size these figures up. That way you get an idea of what you're coming up against when you're trying to compare the figures or pair them up with figures like Daredevil here, and plus other figures like Colossus, Deadpool, Wolverine, or whatnot, and you're getting that comparison, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at them up close. I will set my lighting the way I need to. That way we can have a good view of what we are looking at, right? Okay, I think we got that, okay? Yeah, I think that's quite it. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at him up close. There he is. I have the lighting the way I need it. That way you can get the vision that you think. Okay, so looking at his face there, there it is. Okay, there we go. Stand that far from it. Okay, so you see the hair. I'm assuming that hair is black, right? His beard is black. That's what I see in the comments. His hair is black, right? Here it's brown, and then he has this. I need to find that in the not in the series, but I don't know if it's that. I think it's just regular black hair. I don't know what this brown is. It might be a brown tint. But the picture's coming up as I'm making the video. I don't have the picture, but I'm sliding it to you now. But what I'm seeing here is that incorrect? It's got to be black, right? Beard's black, hair's black. That should be two different colors. And that fade of that tinted brown is not it. And then you got some drip effect paint right there. It's not tattoo. That's just sloppy paint, okay? So looking at the face, we know it looks like him, of course. That's not an argument, especially with that big nose and scratches. He gets beat up. The eyes are fine. Doesn't look as droopy as your guy here. Look at that. Look. Hey, that's not a fighter. You see that? He has that droopy effect on his eyes, but he's not sad like him. Okay? But there you have it. So look at that again on his hair. I don't know what kind of lining that is there. If you look at that lining up, what is just bleeding paint? Not really that great there. But there you have it. Paint on the neck. Okay, let's look at his suit. Of course, I would guess, don't know what you would call the attire, as first like a bulletproof vest, if you will, with the utility belt. And there you see it. That's not a bad job there, especially the logo and this kind of, I would say it's white, but it's like an off-white, right? And there you have it. Of course, it's on a two-piece because of his body from the articulation. You can even that out if you like. But there it goes. The teeth of the logo goes onto the, looks like extra clips, right? There you go. And you can see the rest there. Everything holds. You are able to hold your accessories on him. The tomahawk, I think, doesn't have a spot, but you can make one, right? But the paint scheme on it is pretty decent. You don't have any runoff paint besides the one on his neck, but this looks pretty good. The flesh color's not off on the arms or whatnot. So it's not bad there. The back, great finish, right? You can see it. Pants, good finish. Not bad there. Blending in latches. We like that. There goes your knife there. You put your, those two dots there. You put your, they say grenades or whatnot. Them are smoke bombs to me. If you look at the way those are smoke bombs. And then you do have a position for there's your holster there, but you don't have a position for your tomahawk, but you can put the slice of it here and it'll hold. Very strange. But looking at his pants, very basic. You can see that it's done very well versus that. It's terrible. Did not like that, but you see this here, regular shoes. You can try to retain his boots as much as you can. And I think they did a fairly decent job being that these are on rockers. So you're gonna get that boot effect, right? Not quite there, but it looks pretty decent, right? Okay, let's look at his hands. You see the gloves there. You're gonna have the holes in the knuckles, right? There you go, holes in the knuckles there. And he does have sorts of gauntlets and they are loose. They're not stuck on. These gauntlets are loose, right? Okay, so let's look at that again. See that? There he is. A little bit of bleed up paint on the neck. Might just be mine. Got it. Okay. You see the logo screaming itself all over the front of the body on the armor. There goes the mold. So like I say, it's not that bad, but it's not that great. But the figure does look like him, and the attire's there, right? So not a bad job. Okay, and that will do it for the appearance. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, and here you are with Colossus and Punisher there side by side, just to give you an idea of how it looks. You see there, not bad, right? See the size comparison there. I think that would be on, in my opinion. I think that would be pretty on. What do you guys think? Not bad. Okay, you get the idea. Okay, for the scale, as you can see there, you have Deadpool. Look at Deadpool. Look at Wolverine. What are you looking at? And also you have Colossus there. Just to give you a size comparison of the three and of the larger figure, which is Colossus. That way you get an idea of the size comparison, right? They do pretty well. Hasbro usually does a good job when it comes to the scale, depending on what size. Sometimes when they go a little larger, they do a little bit too big or a little bit too small in their large figures. But as you see it here, you see them there, you get the idea. Okay. Okay, for the accessories, you'll be getting an extra head sculpt, which is aggressive with damage, and you'll get an extra pair of punch hands. Also with the weapons, you'll get a shotgun, tomahawk, pistol, and you'll get the flashbang grenades. You'll get 2 of those. Plus, with the shotgun and pistol, you have a fire effect that comes out of the weapons, and you can put them on either or, right? So let's take a look at the head portrait first, the one that's aggressive, the one that has the blood on it. Let's take a look at that, okay? All right, here we are. There he is. Okay, you see the face there? That doesn't look aggressive. It looks like he's had a long day and he's super tired. He's trying to yell. He's like, "Now forget it. I gotta go to bed." That's what that looks like to me. Terrible. The other one that he had, the figure before this, he just looked very tired. This is even worse. He looks like he's been beat up and he just wants to go home. Hey, I'm tired. But enough of that. Look at the hair. The hair's brown. I think I've seen brown in the series, but this brown, I don't remember it being in the one last kill. But anyway, his hair is black. Why don't we have the black color hair? You do have this. Why is this in brown and not black to fade? Not getting that. His beard is brown, hair is brown. It's not like that. Then you have your little cut there, your little 2-piece you glued on, right? Okay, so let's look at the painting on the face. As you can see, those pixelated stuff by the eyes, that means it was spray painted on. Eyebrows, eyes inside, get the spray paint. And I'm pretty sure that other stuff was spray painted as well. But if you take a look at his mustache and beard, that looks pretty decent. And then the scars on his face, it does look like him, but boy, does he look tired. Wow, he don't look like he's coming to fight at all. And he doesn't look like he's yelling hard. Nobody can hear him if he is. But that tongue is out, right? You can see it. There it goes. That looks pretty decent teeth inside the mouth. But above all, that is it. Not too impressed, but it still looks like him. And he looks, what? Tired. Okay, next up, we're going to look at the extra pair of hands. So we only need to look at one because of the same. So if you look at the figure there, he has the pointing hand, right? He has the pointer. And he also has the, where you can put the hand in the trigger, right? You can put the trigger finger there. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the punch hand. There we go. Okay, there's your punch hand. Pretty basic. He has holes by the knuckles, right? There you go. Paint scheme on is okay. Everything's just blotted in. Like, just, see it? Look at it. Just blot. Like, it's just gobs of goo. Great gobs of goo in his hands, right? Like he's holding Play-Doh in his hand. It doesn't look great. The glove itself and the holes on the knuckles look good, but the rest, not so much. Not a fan. Nope. Not really. It's okay. All right, you got that? Okay, so let's take a look at the tomahawk. Tomahawk's pretty decent. Tomahawk is mostly just the plastic. You see that there? You get this grayish black plastic. The wrapping, they could have did the wrapping in some kind of brown. That would have been a lot better. Don't know why they don't get creative like that, right? And you can see that the tomahawk is just all gray. I don't know why this thing is not doing what it needs to do. But you can see it there. It's just pretty basic. This should have a shine to it, like a silver wash, silver something, just to give it an idea that it's metal, right? But there you have it. It's not that great. Okay, so let's take a look at the pistol. Couldn't get no easier than a pistol. It's just pretty basic. There it is. All right, pistol, nothing to it. You could throw some silver touching on it around the chambers, the trigger or whatnot. Just not this solid black. Doesn't give it a real feel, but there you have it. It's not bad, but there you go. And there's a hole where you stick the fire effect in, right? Let me go ahead and just do that. We'll go ahead and put the fire effect in there just to give you an idea what that would look like in a pistol. More like a shotgun would be better, right? But there it is. There it is. You can do some good photos with it, but that's it. That's it. Boy, my camera's not acting right. It's just trying to get him. There you go. Let me take him out the background, but there you go. Right? Got it? Not too shabby. That's a heck of a shot, leaving that kind of a flame. Okay, next up will be the shotgun. Well, let's go ahead and do... We'll go ahead and do the flashbang grenades, right? There's two of them. They look the same. And here we are. So the flashbang grenades, there's nothing to them. They look pretty decent. Get that. There they go. Yeah, nothing really to them. Got a little pin there. Yeah, got a little pin on them. Whatnot. On the side there, you got the little where you hold it, right? You get your hold on there. Let it go. Boom. And there's a peg that you peg it onto its utility belt where it stays. But yeah, ain't nothing much to that. That's regular flashbang grenade to me, right? It's pretty ugly right at the top there. Look at the pin. That could did better than that. Yeah, it's okay. There it is. All right. Okay. And next up will be the shotgun, right? That's the last thing. The shotgun, I'm not mad at it. It looks pretty good, right? There you go. There's your shotgun. Pretty decent. This could could have been better on the wood instead of this straight metal plastic looking thing. But, you know, it is what it is. But there you go. Not bad on the shoddy, right? Okay. Okay, and that'll do it for the accessories. Okay, let's start with it. POA, points of articulation. Let's do it. All right, so figure from the last figure, they're gonna have probably about the same, mostly the same articulation. Most of the Hasbro figures, they move quite the same when you're dealing with like Spider-Mans and you're just anything in that nature, right? The Marvel Legends. Okay, so looking at him, there you go, give me another look. Okay, so the head is on a ball and socket, right? The ball and socket is quite large. Let me take his head off there. It's a good size. So looking at the ball and socket on that good size, you're gonna get decent movements because you're not restricted at all with that. He doesn't have any restriction like hair restrictions or chin restrictions or whatnot. So looking at the decent movements is what you like, right? So look at that, and they stay pretty well down there. There's no latch system, so it's just all ball and socket and on a long peg. So you're gonna get the stuff that you need. That's what I like to see when it comes to articulation in the head, because you need much as movement as you can. Because when you have that, you can do many, many, many poses. And that looks really good on a ball and socket. Usually a latch would do that, right? Not the case. Just done correctly with the ball and socket. We're happy about that. Good job, okay? This is really basic. We know this before because if you're always looking at the latch system, it's always gonna have a rotation because it's in the peg system, right? So the peg system allows it to move inside the socket, inside the shoulder, and then you have the pin, the latches that make you be able to rotate it, and then you're gonna have the connections of the bicep swivel there, right? Most of the time, it's a regular bicep swivel that swivels here as well, but this is gonna be a peg system inside to let you do that swivel, right? Okay, and if you look at the latches here, they are in a double jointed, so it's very easy to do what you need to do. That's not forced, but they got the kind of a hidden mechanism. But then when you bend it, it looks okay, not bad, just because of flesh color to flesh color. Anything else, it could look pretty weird. Okay, your cut on the chest, very much needed because of the fact that you do need this to rotate there. You can't have stuff here with the utility belt. It wouldn't work as right, but you do have that rotation and it rotates very smooth, and it is needed for that, right? Your crunch system won't be there because of that, but you do have waist rotations, right? So your waist rotations are there on top of that. So that's very nice, and we do like that. So we know the arms, we talked about the double pins, and of course they're interchangeable, and they do have latches of their own, right? There goes your latch system there, a decent latch system, right? You see the round there, that latch, that's pretty decent. You're not gonna have any much, you know, if you use it a lot, that's not gonna break off as easy. That's pretty nice. And it's long, pegs in very smooth, right? Same on both sides of the figure. That's not an issue. And if you look at the inside, you're gonna have the dumbbell joints, right? Where you have the bar in the middle and you have the balls and sockets on that enter the inside of the leg, right? Especially in the part where the thigh swivel is, right? Thigh swivel on both sides, right? Looking at the legs themselves, of course, they are double latched as well. There you go. Not too bad. Nice and hidden by his knee pads, right? Those are knee pads there. Of course, same on both sides. Then you look at the feet. The feet do sit on rockers, and they do not have a pivot in the toe, but they do have a latch system, right? There you go. Pretty basic. And all of his weapons fit. Got holsters for them. They fit, except for the tomahawk and the shotgun. They don't have their own spots, but it still looks pretty decent, guys. Okay, so the articulation, very basic. No limitations. All right. Okay. And that will do it for the POA. Okay, for the packaging, pretty basic with the Marvel Legends series packaging. We've seen this before many times, just a different character, right? And some different artwork. But if you take a look at the face, you can see the action figure and all the accessories inside the bubble. And if you look deep in the back, you do have that mini diorama for headshots, of course, or you can try to do body shots, but it won't look as great because it's so small. And then as you see the Marvel Legends series on the top corner, the Punisher at the side panel, which is say the Punisher one last kill, I think. And then you see the Punisher logo at the bottom with the Aegis and the Hasbro logo, correct? All right, so let's take a look at the side panel. On one side panel, you do have the Marvel Legends series and the Punisher, and of course you have the side window cutout, and you have the picture of him on the bottom, right, which is laminated. And if you take a look at the other side panel, you'll have the same laminated picture, just enlarged to some more of his body, as you can see there. And then you see the Marvel Legends series at the bottom, laminated as well, right? And if you take a look at the top of the packaging, you will have the Punisher logo, right? And that will be it for the face of the packaging. And if you take a look at the back side, let's flip it over. You do have the bio there, and of course, the action figure himself in the stance, and some sayings at the bottom by the Punisher logo, right? And if you need this helps you out any. There you go. Pause that if you like. Okay, and that will do it for the outside of the packaging. And for the inside of the packaging, as you can see, there is the mini diorama. Of course, you can take it out and take some body shots, mostly some upper body shots. You could probably do a full body in a kind of a short form, but trying to do it like long form pictures, it wouldn't look that great because it's so small. But there you have it, the inside of the packaging. Okay, for my pros and cons. My cons is that some of the paint is off. You got some paint that's fell on the figure by his neck. That's not good. And then you look at the hair. What is up with the brown color hair and that like solid brown fade that he has? Not liking that. So his hair should be black, as what I'm assuming, I'm sure, but don't like that at all. And that would mostly be it about that. Just the paint scheme and the color of the hair is off. It's mostly black. So looking at the figure itself, I think it looks good. It looks like him, of course, better than the last version, in my opinion. And also, you get plenty of weapons. Love that. And then you just look at the articulation. It's not bad. It does what it needs to do, right? So for me, I'm going to go ahead and give the figure an 8 out of 10. Guys, let me know what you give it. And you guessed it. You can get it at HasbroPulse.com. Just check out HasbroPulse.com. So what are you waiting for? Check them out! And this brings us to the end of our video. If you found the video informational, or if you just simply enjoyed watching, please hit like, comment, share, and subscribe button. And as always, this has been another toy review. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.